Patel, welcome to the Trails Collective interview series. Thanks for doing this. How are you tonight?
I'm great. How are you?
I can't complain. I think it's about to rain. It looks like it's about to pour on us, which we desperately need. And then that also means that I don't have to water our house plants that we now have outside. So,
Nice.
what's your day looked like today so far? Any running?
No, just started working again. And I kind of worked from 6:30 in the morning till 5:30. So that was my whole entire day. Came back home and did a nice and easy jog around the park nearby. And
Nice.
like a couple of miles just to as a recovery run. And then shower, ate, and I'm here talking to you.
Nice. Yeah, that's what Mondays are for me too. It's either I wake up and I feel like if I want to run, I'll do like an easy run, or I'll take the day off and just like go for a walk or something. And nowadays it's so beautiful out in the morning, and that's the only cool time. So yeah, same. Um, I I remember when I first met you, you did describe this like really long work, like commuting and stuff like that. So I just always, how do you like get in the miles that you need to do? Because you do some pretty epic adventure races. Like, how do you get in the miles that you need, or do you feel like you just thrive on like maybe a lower mileage, or what do you do?
I would say I'm mid mileage. I wouldn't go too low, but I don't go on really high. Most of my mileage usually comes through a weekend. That's when I usually like to get away. Just because I live near a city area and work near a city area, it's very populated and congested. So weekends I look forward to just getting out, and it just feels so good to be outdoors in the nature. So I try to spend more time and get time on my feet and mileage.
Yeah, and I mean, for the races that you do, you need to be on your feet for long periods of time. So probably some strategies were good for you because you have some pretty impressive results.
It's working for now.
So take me back to when you started running. Did you run in high school and college?
I did run in high school and college. I started running when I was in elementary school because I wanted to take a day away from school. Because if you make the team, you get to take a day and go on this field trip to race other schools. And I was like, that is cool. And it doesn't count as an absence. So great. I want to be part of that team. And I just did it just to be part of the team, not knowing that I will be running even now.
That's so cool. What was your event?
I made it for a 200-meter dash as a backup.
And that's what, like two strides for you. Devane is very tall. He's also a baller, so we have that in common. I was a baller, so and yes, he's very tall. So I bet that 200-meter didn't take you very long.
No, I don't remember the time, but it was pretty quick. Um,
And then in
I
high
got my
school,
ass kicked on that, but
in high school did you do track as well, or did you cross country, or?
so in elementary school, the high school coaches were there, and he said, you should look into coming out to, the cross country team and join the track team because he was a coach for both. And I was like, yeah, maybe, because I've never really looked into running. I was mostly focusing on basketball, as you know. So I didn't really care about running as a sport. My whole focus and everything went towards basketball. And
And
then
where did you go to high school?
I went to high school in North Bergen. So it was the North Bergen High School.
And that's in New York,
It's in New Jersey.
New Jersey. Okay, okay, cool, cool. Were you like the big man on campus, or?
Uh, Not really. I was just trying to fit in. I was a pretty shy kid. Um,
Where did you go to college?
I went to college in Bloomfield College. It was a D2 college. I got a scholarship for cross country.
Oh, wow, that's really cool. I did not know that. And so do you run all 4 years?
I did run all 4 years in college. In high school, I did cross country for 4 years, and then I did indoor track 2 years, and I played basketball 2 years, and then I did outdoor track for 4 years.
Okay, okay, cool. A lot of depth there. That's I don't know what I was expecting actually, but that's pretty cool. So when you graduated, were you healthy all 4 years? Like no issues or anything? I've talked to a couple of runners and they were like up and down and then taking a break after college because they were burnt out and coming back. So what was your journey like there?
Freshman year in college, I was excited to be part of the team, and everything was new. So anytime there's new stuff, I'm always excited. Um, the team was great. Uh, the practice and stuff could have been better. I was self motivated more than anything, and then throughout the years, like sophomore, junior years, injuries happened. I was also working. I was a full time student, a full time athlete. I was working all the way in the city, so I was still work all the way in the city. And my college was in New Jersey, and then school was, it was a lot going on. I also worked on campus, so like I really didn't have that college party life that everybody had. I was pretty much like being an adult, trying to pay off, bills and everything. So, and injuries happened, so it was up and down pretty much. And then as senior year came around, I wasn't as good as I could have been, but I was happy and give my best, to help the team out. And then when I finished college, I didn't want to run for a while. I kind of was burned out from everything for running for so long. So I
So
just took off.
you continue that work ethic, just you work a lot now. Where does that come from?
I guess growing up, my mom and dad always worked hard. Like we never had anything, so everything we did was, we had to work for it. So I think all the little things I've seen and being around my parents and know about, not realizing will take me. And I think they always told me like always work hard, you know, don't ask for stuff, work for it. You appreciate it more when you work hard. Every money, when you buy something, you feel really accomplished. Like that's your hard work money, so you got something. You use it more, you appreciate it more than someone just giving it to you. So even right now, I know my dad works hard, and even when he's struggling, so it shows me like I have to work hard for the future at least.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I bet that also that hard work really translates well into ultra running too because you just don't give up. Like I remember you telling me about your first Hurt 100 and I was just like I don't think that my brain could handle that, like what you did, and it was very impressive. We'll get into that, but so where are you? Your parents from?
My parents are from India, born
India?
there. Yeah, me too.
Well, yes, yes. What part of India?
Ahmedabad is more of like central west.
Is it a pretty poor place, or is it more developed?
Uh, it was pretty poor placed. I don't have too much memories, but I remember when I was out there, there was no like concrete. It was just dirt road, and we didn't have like a house. We lived off an apartment, and there was like 10, 15 people in like a small like 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom. Yeah,
Very family communal living, kind of.
yeah.
And then, how old were you when you moved here?
I was 5.5, 6 years old.
Okay. And did your parents just feel like a better life would happen in America, and they just decided to work hard over here?
Yeah, they just, when you're in another country, and this is, we're talking about 20 years or 20 plus years ago, a lot has changed. But back then, everybody just wanted to go to America. America's like the big, dream country where you go, the future's better and everything's better. But nobody really knows until you come here, right? You got
True.
to work hard. You got to work hard anywhere you are. So
Yeah.
yeah, my mom's
Uh,
side of the family was here, so she came first. So
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't. The thing is like, so especially now, and the circles that we're in, like we are very prosperous. We're very privileged. Like we're lucky. Like to live where we live, generally speaking. And I feel like, especially now, a lot of people are shitting on America because we do have a lot of problems. But I just also recently read I was like scrolling Reddit a little bit while I was waiting, and just a person said like, people that think that they have bad lives in America, like you don't understand what other countries are dealing with. Like he was
Right.
like, I am posting this, like I'm typing this out like so that I can post it later when we have our 8-hour allotment of electricity. It is 110 degrees here and we don't have electricity. Like it's just stuff like that. So I don't know like how much has changed in that. Like people still come here because we are very prosperous and we're a very rich country. So I mean, your parents made the right decision, and I mean, I'm glad you're here.
I know. I don't know how my life would have been in India, but definitely a huge difference because I think I really got into sports and stuff. I don't know how things would have been there. I know I'll be still working over there hard.
When do
But
kids start working over there?
huh?
When do kids start working over there?
I don't think they have an age limit over there. Or at least from what I know.
Well, one of my friends is Icelandic, and they start working kids at 4 years old, but they get paid. It's kind of like a personal development program, but they call it work. They get paid. They have benefits. It's very interesting. I really want to look into that because she described it as this great thing, and then but then we over here like child labor. But then my dad, I grew up on a farm. My dad was like, screw that, get out in the field. It's like 6 in the morning. So, it's very interesting just how different cultures like give kids responsibilities, and who knows, maybe giving more kids responsibilities will mature kids faster, I guess.
Yeah, I think it helps to, teach kids to do that. Like, I don't think you should force it. And everybody's different, but it's the way you do it, right? The kind approach, except like beating someone up. Like, you need to do this. You need to get a job. Like, helping them and just doing it within the family. Like your dad did it as, within the family because that's your child. So like when you do it within the family, just showing them how it feels, to work hard and what it feels to earn money. So when you ask your parents, how hard it is for them to earn that money. So,
Mm-hmm.
you think twice before you say, oh, I want a video game because everybody has it. You're like, you know what? That costs this much. That's 2 days of hard work. So it makes you realize and appreciate things. So I think that in a way is really good.
Yeah, my barometer now is like if I want to make a purchase, I'm like, I could get this, or this is like half a pair of running shoes. So I think I'll put this back.
Yeah.
So after college, how long did you take off before you started running again? I looked on Ultra Sign Up, and your first Ultra was back in 2010. The Knickerbocker 60K, which I looked up what a Knickerbocker is, and that's pretty cool. And we're the same age, right? I'm 28. You're 28, right?
No, I'm 31.
Whatever. It's the semantics.
I'll
30.
take the 28.
You're 28. So what did you start doing like marathons and road races? Because you also paced for the New York City Road Runners. Guys, Devane does everything. It's intense. Um, so did you start doing road stuff before trails, or did you just go to the trails?
It's funny you said that you looked up my first ultra run up. Um, that race, I didn't know what I was doing or anything. I just did it because my friends challenged me because, um, long story short, I never done a marathon. And I actually did my first marathon in that Knickerbocker.
Okay.
So when they talked about the wall, I had no clue what it was and all that stuff. And I'm hanging out with the front pack of the group because I was always competitive when I was a road runner. Uh, I am in trails, but a little less. I'm more enjoying it. So when I was doing that, I was hanging out in the front, and mile 18 hit the wall. I didn't want to give up, but again, my whole thing was to finish. I didn't have a time goal. I didn't have anything. I just wanted to prove that myself and my friends who made a bet like I wouldn't be able to do it because I never done a marathon, and just to finish. So I ended up finishing, but I was in a lot of pain. There was a lot of stuff that I had to think about to make sure that I got to the finish line. I was hurting. You really had to dig deep. And something about that, I was like, when I finished, I couldn't walk for days, like 2, 3 days. But after that, I was like, I like the challenge. Now I feel like I accomplished something. and made me appreciate everything else around it, just like hard work, you know. And I was like, I like it, but I didn't like that road was always beating me up. So you can notice, like, I don't do too much road running anymore. After college, I was burned out, and I also was burned out because I was getting injured a lot. I would train hard, and then I was having bad luck with injury because I was really skinny. I didn't know about, cross training and all that. Um, I learned a lot in running all through my experience of being injured, or everything else I learned is just like trial and error. Um, and also all this knowledge that we have nowadays with the technology and everything. Like, you want to find out you're injured, you can Google, and it's there. There's so many resources now. Before, I was all new. I didn't know much. I always had a cross country coach or someone doing stuff for me. The learning everything on your own was always it was a tough journey, but I think it made me mentally and physically stronger for like the ultra world. So after college, when I stopped running, I didn't want to run. I just played basketball here and there because I had ankle issues. And then one day, a friend of mine went on a hike, and she's like, "Oh, you should come with me. It's great." And I was like, "I'm not into all that stuff," but I did always love cross country because of outdoors. And I went on a hike, and I fell in love again, like how much I miss just being outdoors in nature. And that's what I needed. And once I did that hike, after that, I really connected. And her, the friend that I went with, her husband was training like 100-mile races, 50-mile races, and I was like, "What is your husband doing?" He's like, "Oh, he's training for ultra," and I didn't know anything about the ultra world. And he's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "That's crazy. That's pretty impressive." Like, crazy meaning like I look up to you and like you're impressive, but like crazy and like, wow, that's amazing crazy. I was like, I could never do that. I was like, I've done 60K once, and it was like really hard, and I was on the road. And he's like, "I don't know how you do this." And then they always talked me up. They were always nice, and they're like, "Whenever we go hiking, you should come." And when he runs, I need someone to hike with. And when I started hiking, I liked it a lot. And then one day, my friend didn't come, and it was just uh, the husband, and he's like, "You should try running one with me." And then I did one, and he was doing like repeats at Tammany, and I couldn't keep up. I did like one and a half, and I was like, "I don't know how you do it." I was like, "You're amazing. Like, I want to be like you when I grow older." I'm like this young kid, and this guy is just much older than me and just crushing it, and made me realize, like, I look up to him. Like, I want to be like you. Like, how are you so strong and all that? And they got me into it, and then little by little, I got better. Um, my ankles were the biggest problems in trails because I had weak ankles. But with everything, with time, it got a little better. Um, but that's what opened up my trail running and ultra world through that friend that got me to start hiking and doing stuff.
So when you finished the Knickerbocker 60K, what did you win in the bet?
Oh, it was nothing
What?
special. I don't even remember actually. I think it was just like food or something.
Oh, you now got a favor. You got to cash in with those guys. I tell you. Oh, you should save that one
Yeah.
when you need it.
Listen, it was more for me, anyways. I wanted to do it because I wanted to prove it to myself as well. I think when someone does it, it just gives me more reason for myself to be. It pumps me up to do it, so it was great. I always love running, so the challenges was just another way to find out my limits.
So you say you used to deal with a lot of injury, and I've known you, and I mean, we've both had injuries, and we both it's just, it is what it is. But how have you successfully navigated those injury struggles? Like, you sort of knew what caused them: overtraining, being too thin. How do you make sure you don't at least control those variables so that if you get injured, it's like, because I rolled my ankle?
Yeah, my biggest problem is I think when I started ultra running, I used to have knee problems a lot, and ankle was only because I used to roll a lot in basketball. And trail running, it happens a lot when you do technical trails. And as you know, I'm really into the technical trails because of the challenge. And so as for rolling ankles, I rolled it so many times, I just know the protocol by now. like what you need to do, rest, ice, and compression, elevate, all that stuff. And then I had the only problem right now is I have a chronic ankle injury and I have tear ligaments and stuff in there that I posted a year ago about either to get surgery or not, and that was the biggest issue right now. But other than that, I learned about doing balance training and ankle movement training and strengthening it up as much as you can. So I do that here and there now, a little more than usual. You know, as runners, we don't take the time to like do a little bit of stretching, a little bit of core, a little bit of this. All that stuff adds up. And I realized, you know, I've been slacking on that.
Sometimes that's my favorite thing, like foam rolling at night. I'm like, yes. I sometimes don't want to get up. Just like I could just lay here on this foam roller. I'm a simple person. So I met you through Red Newt Racing and Marathon Peak Fitness. When did you join that team?
I joined, I believe I was part of the team last year as my first time. I was always hanging around with the team and knew the guys and always hanging out. I wasn't part of the team, but they treated me like I was part of the team. And I just love hanging out with the people are the amazing thing. And that's why I ended up joining. It wasn't even about like, oh, I want to be part of this cool team. And that, even though we are cool.
Oh yeah,
but,
we're super cool.
but it's just, I think the culture and like the people that's part of it, that's what got my attention, like hanging out with them and doing amazing stuff like volunteering, like doing all these trail races, but like being involved with the running community and all the stuff that's around it.
Yeah, it is really special. I'm not really on the mountain side. I'm more like the road racing side, but it's really cool how we all sort of also like if you see like a Red Newt Racing t-shirt, you're like, oh, that's my team, like, you know. So it's pretty, and there's always someone to cheer for too, which is cool because I don't run the technical stuff like you guys do, but I always know that if a race is gnarly, there's going to be a Red Newt Racing person in there, and they're probably at the front.
Yeah, well, Ian puts on some of the best races for trail running, so.
Are you going to come out to Cayuga if it happens?
I'm wearing the t-shirt right now, actually.
Yeah, I have that one. I think we ran that race together. Did you beat me? I think you
Yeah,
did.
we did run it together.
Yeah, that first year, I got second female. I think you and Jay, because I remember we were running together and I went the wrong way.
Yes, in the beginning.
Starting strong. It was great. No, that was super fun. So are you running Cayuga this year?
My plan was to do the 50, um, to use as a training and base, and then get ready for Manitous. But it looks like all the races are getting canceled or rescheduled. So hopefully Cayuga still happens. It'll be nice to be part of it. But I do understand the safety and all the stuff that goes behind it. You know, as a race director and even as runners, you know, it's important to do it the right way.
So out of the races that you run, what is your favorite? Is it Manitous? Please tell me it's not. You did
My,
so well last year. You got fifth, right?
I don't know what place. Like I just went for my time. I just wanted to make sure if I was in range, I was going to push myself to beat my time.
So for anybody who doesn't know, Manitous is a 50 miler that runs about as difficult as a 100 miler, and it's really gnarly. And Devang does very well, which I just it amazes me because he's so tall, and and I'm tall, but I'm not that tall, and he's like the mechanics of like I just the lanky limbs. I feel like I'm like a monkey all over the place, and I just fall, and somehow you just go right over everything, and I'm like, I don't know how he does it.
Oh, I fall out there. Trust me. Just camera guys don't just catch me.
True. They only get your good side.
So Manitous is definitely one of my favorites because it's definitely it goes deep in my heart. Just because that was actually my first 50 miler ever.
Okay.
And I remember having to write a letter to the RD and saying, I please, again, this was another challenge by a friend who said, I can't do that race because my nutrition, again, I'm not really good with nutrition. And this was like my first year actually getting into the ultra world trail
Was it
running.
Jay?
No, this was my other friend, England, and some other people.
Okay.
It was like more of a joking way. It wasn't like, we're all close friends. But
Does
he's
this
like,
mean in race nutrition or out of race nutrition?
nutrition, because I don't eat a lot. Even when I was like do marathons or road running, I wouldn't
Oh,
eat a lot.
during the race. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, and if in order to do long races like that with that many hours that I've never done, you need to have proper nutrition. So if I
Yeah.
don't eat, I'm not gonna survive, which is true. And so that first time I really wanted to do that, they're like, you can't do it. And they're like, first of all, it's really hard to get in because I remember you have to have a 50-mile or qualified race to show that you can do it because that race is really hard and they want to make sure people finish the race or, at a certain time. So I remember writing a letter and I was like, please, I really want to do this as my first 50-mile. I know how hard it is. I know the challenge of it, but I would really, really like to give it a try as my first 50. And then I remember they put me on the wait list. And actually, the day that we were doing Cayuga together, when I finished the race, I got an email from Charlie, the race director, saying that, oh, you're off the wait list if you want to do it. And that's when I was like, yeah, why not? Let's give it a try.
Right.
So I think that race just has something like it's very unique for me just because it was my first 50 and obviously it was really, really hard. And for me to finish that race, my goal was just to finish. And if I second goal was to finish before it got dark. And I never ran at night ever, even before I ever trained. So I bought a headlamp 2 days before the race and I never even got to turn it on because I luckily finished before it got dark. So
Nice.
yeah. And then after that, I was like, I got to do this race. I was miserable when I finished because I was like, oh, it's so hard. I don't know how people do it. And then like, I got to do this race.
So you're pretty good at grinding it out, though. I want you to tell everybody about your Hurt 100 experience. So that's your first 100 mile. And so I remember talking to you like a couple weeks before the race, and you were like, "Oh, I'm injured. I've been injured for a while." And I was like, "Oh, that stinks." So like, I didn't wanna. I always struggle with like asking people about how their running is going after I know they've been injured because what if they're still injured? And then you're like, "Ooh." And then Devang finishes a 100-mile race, and I was like, "Wait." So what happened, and how did you do that?
So when I did Manitous, my first Manitous, that was when I finished that race, I kind of had a little bit of more confidence when I did get into the race that I can do it because Manitou shows me like that's a hard race and you did it. And I always know hurt is really hard and I know how hard it is, the percent of people that actually finish that race. So going into it mentally, I was prepared. Physically, I had I hurt my ankle really, really badly. I forgot on what trail it was, but like really bad. Like I was running down and then like instead of spraining the ankle, I came up with all my body weight and just rolled it with all my body weight. So it was a really bad. It took me out for a long time, and so I couldn't run, and I couldn't do anything. And then I found out that I got into her. Someone messaged me like, "Oh, you got into her," and I was like, "Not." I'm excited that I got in because it's really hard to get in, but I wasn't excited because I couldn't train. So that was the downfall of it. And then I was actually not going to do the race, but my friend said I was supposed to pace New York in November. So between Manitous to November, that's when the injury was going on. So I was like, if I can pace New York City Marathon at 3:30, which is my comfortable pace, and it's on road, then I should be okay, and I can make a decision then. And I did New York, and I did not. That was the first time ever I didn't feel good. I didn't finish on pace, and it was really hard. I couldn't walk. I had to stop. I had like food poisoning. It was like everything ever I could imagine happened. So it gave me confidence, like, all right, I'm not gonna do it. But at the end, my friends like, instead of sending the RD, I still wanted to go to Hawaii because my friends were doing it. So I decided I would just volunteer. But down the line from November to December, my friend's like, if you're gonna go there, just do one loop. So I think you have to do 5 loops, I believe. Um, 5 or 4 loops. Not even it's been a while. But it's a loop course. So they're like, even if you could do one loop, at least you get to experience it. You never done 100. And they said many people don't finish that race anyway. So don't feel bad if you don't, finish like you DNF. It's not. It's one of those races where people go and DNF, so it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my friends convinced me down the line that like maybe I should just do one loop or as many miles as I can. And if I need to drop, drop. So not having that pressure was really great. And when I went into that race, I've been resting my ankle. I think I trained really hard from January to June uh, for Manitous and doing well in Manitous. That when I wasn't training, I was really scared, but I think my body needed that to recover. And I think it helped me. I struggled out there, but I think my body was recovered. That I was able to push a little bit more. I was a little bit stronger.
Mm-hmm.
The pain did kick in after 50 miles. I did the first loop. I felt great and hurt. Second loop, I tried to stay near people. I was just talking, enjoying. And then I was like, all right, I'll do 50 then, I guess. And then if I need to stop, I'll stop. And then everyone was like, you're doing great. Just keep going. And then after that, it was all mental to getting to the finish line. It really came down to mentally pushing yourself and being prepared. But I got to say, the aid stations and the people around you make a huge difference. Um, as much as you can push mentally, but them giving you positive feedback and saying, "Oh, you have plenty of time. You can walk, and you can finish the race before cutoff time and all that stuff." And that race, well, middle of the race, we had an alert saying there was a missile happening, like someone launched a missile, so they had to grab shelter in the middle of the race. So they had to extend the time because they weren't sure how serious it was. Um, it was a one epic race, but overall, I ended up walking the last 25 miles to 40 miles, but I got it done and finished. And there were so many times I wanted to quit and I couldn't. My muscles hurt, but I just knew this was like that one chance. And I told myself, I got in this far. Who knows when I'll have the opportunity to get in this race or come out here again, and how many people want to do this. So sometimes you just got to start thinking deep, like all the reasons why you need to finish.
What was your time?
Good question. I think around 34.
That's pretty good. That's not bad because like her is a very hard 100. It's not like,
Actually, I don't know. You should have seen my time in ultra.
sorry, I didn't write that one down. I was too busy looking for your basketball stats. Um, so you say that you mentioned that the volunteers and the aid stations were probably one of the reasons you got through the race. With everything happening, I kind of think that volunteers and aid stations are going to fall by the wayside for a little bit if people want to run trail races. How do you think that'll affect you in the future?
I think it's definitely gonna play a role. Not having. Oh, actually, I finished in 33 hours, just under 33 hours.
Oh, wow.
All right, I'll take it. um, aid stations are great. Um, I can. They're useful if they're there and giving you the feedback. I'll always take it. But if they're not there, I everybody's different. I can find my own ways to be motivated and still find ways to get through it.
It's just not as good though.
No, I think it gives you a little bit of boost, seeing people and stuff. But it depends on how your life is, right? If you're used to like I'm used to being alone, training, and stuff like that. Races when I really get to see people, so I get excited. I don't really do trainings and stuff with too many people and stuff. So when I'm at race, I look forward to meeting people, seeing friends, and hanging out. Like that's my most favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Is like finish the race and just be there and hang out, be in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the fun part. And because when you're happy and enjoying yourself, I think you perform better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I completely agree. I'm not jumping into any races. Like I don't, because for me it is the community. Like I mean, I'll still train, I'll still work hard even if there aren't races, but the races, the reason I like them is because of all the people.
Same. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So you do Eastern States this past year as well? I think I saw that on there, but I wasn't sure if that was the year it was canceled or I don't remember.
I did Eastern States last year. So every year I told myself after doing Hurt that I want to do at least 100 a year.
Okay.
Doesn't matter what it is, just 100 a year. So this year is a little struggle because a lot of races are being canceled, but I'm gonna find a way to get at least 100 in and
Sure.
100 bike ride. That's the two things I got to do every year.
And I mean, there's tons of people that are in the same position as you, so I bet you could convince a couple of your teammates to do it with you.
Oh yeah, some of them already done hundreds on their own, some on rooftops, some in their rooms, some around the block. I have more crazy friends.
Yeah, yeah. All the crazy is coming out right now.
Yeah.
Um, so what? So you alluded to before the conversation that you have something coming up next week. So we're gonna do a follow up because I want to know what this is. But what? So tell me what's going on next week.
Next weekend I will be going to Catskills, which is the Manitous weekend. Even though the Manitous is not happening, I have to be there because that weekend is very special where really get to see all my teammates, all my friends. Feel like it's just the environment and the community is so great. I love it. And it's a great reason to get away from here.
So
Um,
are you going? Are you meeting like all the Red Newt people, or what's going on?
I'm meeting some of the team members. I'm also have some of my friends who, even locally, who's going to be there with their family. Some are just going to do trails. Some are doing part of the Manatees course. Some are doing the whole course. Some are even doing more than the whole course. And I'm going to be trying to take part of some of the Manitous course, or at least the full.
So you're gonna do Manitous next week. What if you are you gonna like? Do you know the trails well enough to not get lost? Like, are they marked still?
I think I've done it enough times to know where to go. I might miss a turn or two, but I think I'll be able to get back on track.
So are you? Is this like mostly a chill time, or do you wanna? Are you trying to get a good time?
Oh no, this is more about having a good time. When I'm racing, I remember last year it was hard to enjoy when you're racing and you you're thinking about time even when you're not, because you want to make sure you get to the finish line um, quicker as possible you can, you know. But this time I think I get to take a little step back and take it a little bit more in. I'm not gonna be going all out, but I'm gonna be hiking and jogging. Hopefully, I don't know the time because it's gonna be really hot and humid. It looks like so. Goal is to finish one safe, not being hurt. Make sure I get out of there without ankle injuries. That's always my number one goal now, making it out safely. And
So
then
that's
two,
that's about like 55 miles. Like, how are you like carrying all your nutrition the whole time, or is somebody gonna meet you, or what's going on?
I'm gonna try to have so. I haven't worked out the full details yet, but I know there's friends who's gonna be out there, so we can have multiple cars. So hopefully we can have halfway point and then the finish. We might be able to take most of the stuff on our packs. We still have to figure it out, but I'm sure we'll figure out. We might have to carry a lot of stuff, so that's why it's more about enjoying it because we're carrying a lot of stuff. And
Mhm. And water is going to be the biggest issue.
yeah, that's why it's important to have the filter.
Hmm.
To carry the filter.
Well, that'll be exciting, and I can't wait to follow up with you afterwards. So something that I've dealt with, and I know you deal with a little bit, is imposter syndrome. And I want to talk a little bit about that because um, it's not really sandbagging, but it's more like, say you win a race, it's like, rather than enjoying that accomplishment, I feel like you are someone that like tries to downplay it a lot, even if it is an accomplishment. And even though we all know you're not bragging, but so where does that come from? Like, you know, if I'm like, Devang is so fast, you're like, no, I'm not. Like, so where does it come from?
I don't know. I don't feel like I like to be that person, the center of the room, like that needs to be the star or like the shine. And I guess when I started doing trail running, I think I've been around a lot of humble people. I have friends who've done the Grand Slam and all these crazy hundreds, and most people don't even know about them. They don't post, like, they're not out there in podcasts, they're not Instagramming it, they're not Stravaing it. And I think being around them, knowing like personally knowing them, being around them, I'm like, wow, you've done all this and I'm doing this, and like I don't need no credit. Like you're the more amazing person. And being around them and them being humble, I think made me more humble and not care about it that much. Like I'm doing it for myself, and all the stuff I learn is I'm learning from all my friends who are even more amazing than I am. And most people will never know because they're just as humble, and unless you really got to know them. And you're like, oh, that guy did what? And
Yeah, it's cool. We do know some pretty special people. But
yeah.
I think, there's nothing wrong with being like, uh, feeling a sense of accomplishment or,
No, not at all. I don't think
you know,
there's anything wrong with that. I think it's just someone's, I guess, their style, right? In a way, like I have friends who post and stuff, and I think it's great, and there's nothing wrong or unnormal about it. And I support them. There's I don't look at it any different way just because I take it indifferently. It's just a different way of showing how you want to see it. Um, I just always I don't need the light. I don't know. I just feel like when someone gives me, all right, I'll take it, But I like to give back more. Like that's the whole reason about this trail community, because I think people are giving me so much that I'm always giving back. That's why I became a pacer, because I want to help people achieve their goals, hit their goals, and see them, accomplish stuff. And I coached at cross country for university for a year, 2 years, and it was the same thing. I just want to do so much. It's not enough time, and it's only me.
do you feel like that when people compliment you that you deserve the compliments, or do you think, oh, well, I did this, but you should really be complimenting this person, or you like, thank you, like that's thank you, just say
I'll
thank
take it. It just depends on who's saying it. Because sometimes I have friends who tell me that, and I'm like, no, you deserve more. Like you're way better than me. I'll take it, but I definitely, if someone's better than me, I have to make sure I let them know right away, and then at that moment.
Well, just because one person is better than the other doesn't, or has a faster time, doesn't mean like the other person shouldn't get a, like, shouldn't feel accomplished or get a compliment,
Yeah,
Like,
I'll take
it's
the
kind of like the
compliment.
thing where people never want to run with me because they think I'm too fast. And I'm like, first of all, like, I don't run every run at 6 minute pace. Second of all, like, I'll run at your pace, like, or we can do whatever you want. Like, it doesn't matter, Like, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's definitely something that like I've had to embrace. Like, people are going to compliment you, and you just got to say thank you.
Well, yeah, you're super fast, and you're right. You don't always
Yeah,
run at
like,
6 minute
I
pace.
mean, I could be fat. It's comparative, like compared to like, I don't know, like Susie over here. Yeah, maybe I'm fast. But compared to Des Linden over here, I'm not. But like, if somebody tells me I'm fast, I'm gonna say thank you regardless because it's all like it's all relative.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate them telling me that. But I always tell people there's always going to be someone faster than you, and there's always going to be someone slower than you. There's always going to be someone looking up to you, and you're always going to be looking up to someone else.
Okay, so does that stop you from like appreciating when your friend is like, you're really fast, and then you want to be like, but you're faster, so it doesn't matter. It's like, no, yeah, damn it, I'm Devang and I'm fast.
I'm not good at taking compliments. Compliments. I'll admit it. I'm not. I'm not good at it. That's something I could work on. I do take it at times, but I'm just so used to giving feedback back to them right away that like I don't think about taking it in for myself, that I'm looking for another thing to tell them, like what they're good at. As soon as someone tells me what I'm good at, I try to find what they're better at, right? And tell them. Because I feel like when you give compliments, you should give back.
Sure, sure. But also, I think you should like take the compliment first and then return the compliment.
Yeah, I'll work on that.
Maybe after Manitous, where I'm like, wow, Devane, great job. You could be like, thanks. And I'm like,
Well, last year I definitely say I took in a lot of compliments from Manitous. That I can say.
well,
'Cause
good, good, because you deserve it. You really do. I look up to you. It's wonderful. Like, I love seeing what you do. It's amazing. I'm very happy to have known you.
yeah, that was an unexpected PR. I had no idea. I had to turn it on halfway when I looked at the clock. I was like, oh, wait a second.
I'm gonna finish before dinner, not just before dark.
Well, it was either I'm gonna finish and not feel good for the rest of the day, or I could just finish and play it safe. And I think I took the risk last last year.
Feeling like crap after races, though, is the best kind of feeling like crap.
Yeah, but I always look forward to hanging out. So last year I really didn't get to have that much fun.
But now you
But
get to live in glory.
well, then I was like, the result's gonna last for for a while, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get to this time. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna have that chance to PR again. I think we sometimes take it for granted when we're in shape. I think you know that as well. I
Totally.
think we both been in shape, and we're like, no, I could. I'm faster than this. I need to train more to be better. Sometimes we don't realize when we're actually in shape until we get injured or like we're retraining ourselves again, and we're like, oh man, I was in shape last year.
Like, oh, the good old days when I was young and in shape.
Last year I'm like, oh man, I should have been training, I should have been in better shape. And I look back from this year to last year, I'm like, man, I was in better shape than this year. So there's always that issue, right?
Yeah, yeah. But it's all fun. I mean, we all just do this for fun. So as long as we can still keep getting out there, I think that's I take that as your attitude, and I think that's great.
I just do it because like life has too many problems. I just need to. It's like therapy for me, and it's just
Especially
like,
now.
oh yeah, I've been, before this talk, we've been going up and down in life. Uh, so it's like finally feeling better again. It's kind of good.
Yeah. So I'm glad to hear that you are running, and I will be anxious to hear how Manitous goes, and we will finish this conversation uh, when you get back.
Definitely.
All right. I'll talk to you then. Okay.
Sounds great.
So we are back with Devang post Manitous weekend. I can't wait to hear all about it, all the details. It looks like it was a little rainy on you. It was rainy on me and my workout as well. So, but I think I preferred that to like the 100% humidity that I've had a couple times. So,
Yes.
there we go. That's a little better, isn't it? All right. So tell me about it. You ended up going out. How'd it go?
So I ended up going up to the Catskills the same weekend where it's always Manitous, but this year it was canceled. So there was a lot of our teammates were there. Everybody had different plans, but it was nice to run into a lot of the teammates. I decided to run and join Ryan, and he was going for Manitous 100, which was Manitous plus the Cattails marathon that Mike puts on, plus part of the escarpment. So it was some crazy stuff. I decided to join
Do you have
him.
like some issues to work through, or like death wish?
Yeah, we didn't know. Yeah, we're just a bunch of crazy runners who just love being outdoors in the nature.
Yeah.
So I decided to join him. I did not realize that, like, I knew it was going to rain. I didn't know it was going to be this bad. Um, I can deal with heat, being humid or snow or ice, but I don't do well in rain.
Really?
Yeah, for some reason. I know you've been to one of the races where I ran in the rain and mud.
Yes. Yes. Finger like 50s. Rest in peace. I was supposed to do that this year.
Yeah. So I decided to join him. We started on Saturday like 4 a.m.
Okay.
Um, we started at the escarpment trailhead at the old road, and we did part of the escarpment, which goes into Manitous. We did the whole Manitous, and right in the beginning, it was very nice. The weather was beautiful. Got a nice little morning sunshine and everything, and then came a little bit of drizzle around like 11ish, and then before we headed into the Devil's Path, of course, because Casco is not hard enough with the Devil's Path, so had to make it more challenging somehow. So
All right.
came the thunderstorm, which lasted for like 5 hours, and it just, as people who've done the Devil Path and all that stuff, they know how hard it is and technical it is. With the mud and slippery rocks, it just made it that much more difficult and challenging. My problem was pretty much the mud and my feet being wet all day. Just was very, very tough on me. And then like being cold. Um, Halfway point, like around mile 20, right before the Devil's Path, we saw some of our teammates, and it was nice. And seeing our crew to fill up bottles and get gels and all the snacks before the big technical part, and it just decided to pour. And then we managed to get through it and kept pushing through. But me and Ryan, I don't think we shared that much words at that point. It was just, it just got to like, let's get through this, whatever it takes. And then we pushed through. He loves the rain. He was enjoying it. I wasn't a fan of it just because once my feet gets wet and everything gets wet, it gets too soggy for me and my skin, and and that's what ended up happening. After the rain stopped, we just kept going through a lot of puddles and lots of mud, and my feet just kept staying wet, and it didn't help because by the end, it made me decide to like stop because it was just hurting too much to every step. So I
Yeah.
got to
So
the end of the
talk about
finish line.
feet. Like, let's talk about the feet. So I'm notorious. Like, my feet are awful. Like, just they're shaped weird, and I always have my correct toes in, and like I do so much foot maintenance just personally, and I'm not running like what in the stuff you guys are, but like my feet are sore. Like the sides hurt. Like I mean, it's a deal. And so I can imagine, and I know, like, because I've done races where just it's wet and stuff. Like your feet almost get like raw, and it's like raw
Yeah.
feet, and then like they get all like weird and like pruny, but like it just hurts like touching anything. It's just so tender. It's like you burn
Yes.
the bottom of your feet. But it's not burnt. They're not burned. They're like burned by water. It's weird. And it hurts so bad, like every step. So I completely understand. Like, is that what happened?
Yeah, you hit the key words right there. Like every time I touched something and my foot was inside the shoes, and even with the soles, my soles were half up and around. It just moved and everything was off because of the water going in and stuff. But like my feet, like you said, being soaking wet, even just the bottom of the foot, like when I put my foot down with the shoes, it just hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept pushing and pushing, but then I decided to pull the plug at the end of the finish line of Manitous, which was around like 55 miles. And going into the night, I decided to not go just because it wasn't, I just made a smart move not going into it because there's not many locations where I would see someone that can pick me up or if something happened. And I didn't want to take that risk.
Yeah, it's just it hurts. And then if you nick something, of course, because like that place is rocky, like that sucks even more. And it's like for I don't know about you, but like sometimes it like even if I don't, I like will start to cry. Like it hurts so bad. Like and you're just pissed, like because you're like, if this would be wonderful if my feet just didn't hurt. Like I'm
Correct.
fit, I'm ready to go, but it's like my feet hurt, you know?
Yeah, like we took it easy knowing that we were going to do the whole entire thing. Uh, and like I didn't make that decision till the very end. Um, I was like, I was still hoping because I was feeling really good. Usually after doing like a 50 technical like this, I usually push through and don't feel too good. But I was able to eat like pizza at the end and I was ready to go. But my feet just every step. And I just said, you know what, even though I feel good and I would have loved to push that at the end, it just wasn't a good move. And it was tough because, you know, you prep for it. I had people come out and do all this. So sometimes I feel sad for because getting people to come out and do this, but then I also feel appreciated. Like I got in what I did and came out, survived.
I mean, your initial plan was to do Manitous, not the whole thing, right? Or like the whole like Manitous and Cat's Tail.
Initial plan was try to do the 100 with Ryan, but I know he's in way better shape than me. He's a amazing runner, strong runner. And when I stopped, he kept pushing through after Manitou's finish. And I think he went all the way to the end. He just missed like the last 10 miles or so, which was pretty incredible. And then he pulled the plug. And that guy never pulls the plug. He done like some amazing races and amazing stuff. So he pushed through further than me, and he had the same issue. The foot was just messed up.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even know how you can train for that. Like, what do you do? Just like it's raining now. Like, try to just go outside and just like barefoot down the road, like just run and like rip up my feet. Like, you can't really train for that. It kind of sucks.
Yeah, but it's like I said, this usually you learn from your failures. This one, I felt like I did mostly pretty much everything well, and the only thing I couldn't control is the weather. And so I'm kind of like okay with that, but I just really wish the trip was like, I want to see if I could have done it.
Well, I mean, next weekend, see how everything going on. Like, we try. No, I'm just kidding. So you, how long did it take about? Because you said you were going pretty chill and it was like kind of
Uh,
weather.
so my watch actually died before I got to the Manitous finish. I think my watch died, let me see, just before I did the last climb. And then I didn't even care at that point. I just like, you know what, it hurts. I just got to get to the finish line.
I mean, you know you did it, so it's like it doesn't really matter. Like if you're like I mean, your feet know.
Yeah, my watch died around 47.5 miles, and I
Okay.
still had at least up to 55 miles. I did like something up close to 55 with still much gain. I think we got up to like about 55 miles and 15,000 feet of gain. So,
And how long did it take you?
um, I think we started at 4, finished around like 9:15. I think it was like 17 hours and 30 minutes. I think 17 hours.
That's so
Around there.
badass, Devang. That's awesome. Like that's so cool because it was like pretty. It was raining pretty hard, but you see, you said you got cold. Like I think the rain feels good when it's like hot out.
The rain does feel good, but in the morning, what happened was I usually wear a long sleeve or something just to keep. I like to stay comfortable, and then I took it off because it was getting humid and hot in the climbs. Because when you're climbing, your body, you're breathing heavy and you're using more of your body. So I took it off, and then it started raining, and it was okay. Then it started raining a lot, and then when we got to the top of the mountains where it was open and it kept raining, once I was soaking wet and it gets a little hot, then as the temperature keeps changing, so you get cold.
Mhm.
And I wasn't moving as fast, so it wasn't like my body was creating more heat either.
Yeah, that's true. I remember we started to work out with my friend Bella on Saturday, and I remember like we were finishing the cool down and we finished at her house, and then she lives like a half a mile away from me, so I just jogged back home. And I remember thinking like, I might want oatmeal today. It might be a warm breakfast day. So no, I completely understand. I'm the same way. I mean, it's not like I have like an extra six, and you and I don't exactly have like that extra coat of warmth
No,
on the outside.
no. I did get a poncho around like mile 25, 26, so it helped a little. But the thing is, the trails are so narrow,
Yeah.
and everything, all the like the roots and plants were sticking more. It was more overgrown, so I kept touching it with my shoulder. So all the water from all the leaves would just keep drenching on me. So
Oh, well, I'm glad you had a companion. So when you're out there, you guys are kind of suffering together. You said it was a little quiet, but was most of it like you guys just talking and chilling and having a good day out there?
Yeah, it was actually a great day. I love running with friends and connecting and just talking. You just talk about whatever comes to your mind. We saw like a snake. We had a porcupine on the trail running in front of us for a little bit. Saw birds, saw a frog. So it was nice. We took it in as well.
Hmm.
Um, and we stopped at the views, took pictures. So
Do
it
you
was
live by
worth it.
that plane?
Yes.
That's pretty cool. That's like the only memory from escarpment that I actually like.
Because once you get to the plane after that, it was all downhill to the finish.
Yeah, and things got real worse. So that's kind of fun. So this was more like, do you think that if it was a race, um, you would have pushed through, or do you think that your feet were pretty messed up and you might have dropped?
If it was a race, I would have tried to keep going a little bit more just because I knew there would be more aid stations and where I can drop out. Um, but I didn't want to take the chance now because it's not worth. Because if I went, I wouldn't have seen anyone for like hours,
Hmm.
and if I did decide to drop, I would have to still continue and suffer, which I don't mind. I've been there and done that, but sometimes you just gotta know what's best.
Hmm. Yeah, and seeing people really does make a difference, especially because I find in my races, I'm usually running alone for a lot of part. So like just seeing somebody in an aid station is just kind of important to me. And with like the changes that are probably going to happen if races resume when they do, like less aid stations, not manned aid stations, stuff like that, I'm kind of a little bit nervous because that's just another part of ultra running that I enjoy. Like I get a boost from going into the aid station and just seeing another person. So yeah, I wonder about races in the future, how I'll handle that, but I don't plan on racing anytime soon, so I don't have to worry about it yet.
Yeah, I enjoy the same thing. I enjoy the part of seeing people, and it's always nice to run into people and like seeing friends, meeting people. It's always the best part of the running. But you're fast either way, so I don't think your time's gonna change that much.
I mean, but it might like prevent me from entering races.
That's true.
We talked about the community, and the community is really important to me. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but just like we talked about earlier, I'm just running and chilling. It's fine, whatever. It is
Yeah.
what it is.
Well, you don't have to do the race part. You can just hang out with friends in the
That's
nature.
true.
Go for a hike.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm also someone, do you like running in groups? Well, you must, because you do that pacing thing. Like, I find like one or two people max is how many people I like to run with on like a training run.
Yeah, I like running with friends and talking and stuff, but then there's also times where I like running on my own and just being in my own thoughts and my own pace. So it's a mix. It's a mix of both. In the trails, I don't like huge groups. I like you said, two or three people max, so I
Yeah,
can talk and we're close and because it's the trails. But like pacing, I have big groups because I'm trying to help as many people as I can.
yeah.
um, but as for the trail goes, it's pretty usually small group. But at the finish, it's always a big group, which is the best part.
Yeah, yeah. Like I don't mind hanging out with a lot of people, but sometimes like when going on group runs, it sort of gives me anxiety. And also I like to talk to people, and also on runs is when like you have some of your deepest conversations. So it's a lot easier to do that with like just one or two people rather than like you're in a sea of 20 people, and there's one guy at the front that's like trying to get some Strava segment, and you're like, hello, please slow down, I'd like to run a 9-minute mile, thanks. And yeah, no, it's just I was just curious.
Well, who
But
knows? Maybe
I
you'll
do
start
want to
doing.
wait, sorry, go.
I said, who knows? Maybe you might start doing interviews on the run and getting those deep conversations.
Maybe. I mean, a couple people have asked about that, but I don't know. I mean, I like doing this. So a lot. And also I don't run with people that often. I mean, maybe a couple times a week, but not super often. And also like the people that I'm running with now aren't exactly like East Coast trail runners or East Coast elite trail runners. So I don't know if they exactly fit the demographic that Ian wants me to go for here. Yeah. So we're going to play a game really quick. I listened to a podcast with Jay Friedman, our teammate, and they did their ideal aid station. So I'm going to ask you these questions, and you can think about them or just give me the first thing that comes to mind. But so we're going to pick different things that we want at our ideal aid station. And so are you ready to play?
I'm kind of nervous now.
I mean, you should have, like, I'm thinking you'll be like, this will be fresh in your mind because you just did an ultra event where, like, you know, the races that I've been doing, I just need a couple of gels and I'm fine.
Okay, let's give it a try.
All right. So, what is one salty snack that you want at your ideal aid station?
Potato chips.
Okay. For me, I said pickles.
Well, pickles my definitely number two. It was up there. Pickles actually came to my mind first, but potato chips, I just crave something crunchy.
Yeah. Potato chips were number two for me. Bonus, yeah. There's salt and vinegar. Okay. Ideal sweet snack.
Gummy bears.
Oh, interesting. Okay, interesting. I said watermelon.
Oh, I love watermelon.
I know.
I haven't had that, so I didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah, it's so good. But like you forget about it, but like when it's there, you're like,
yes.
Or the good orange slice every once in a while. Also,
orange. Any fruit, I always say would be number one. Yeah,
that's true. Any fruit.
I changed my answer.
Okay, well, we could do candy, like favorite sweet candy. I mean, that's fine. Gummy bears works. Okay. Hot food.
Vegetarian noodles.
Yes, yes, Devang. Noodle soup is the correct answer.
Yes.
So good, especially like extra noodles, and you can just like slurp that down. Oh, so.
Yes.
Or if they only have broth, this is a pro tip: crunch up some potato chips, put it in the broth, and then you can slurp it down. Oh, it's so good.
I done that for the 10-mini-10. Yes.
Yes. It's so good. Oh man, yes. Okay, you've already won this game, but here we have a couple more questions. Sports drink.
This is tough. Right now, I've been enjoying Tailwind. Tailwind's been this year been changing my game. I wish I would have more chances to use in the race, but I used it for Manitous and it was great because of the calories and everything I need. I didn't cramp, so I'm using it more this year. So I'm gonna say the Tailwind is definitely my go-to right now.
Yeah, I like Tailwind too. Yeah, but also like I only ever drink Mountain Dew in a race. So is that like a sports drink? Because like I would never drink that.
Well, if you ask for what's your favorite soda to have at the aid station, mine would be like Coca-Cola.
Okay, yeah, that's what Jay said. But then the next question is, what's your favorite non-sports drink?
It would have been Coca-Cola.
So mine's sparkling water or cold brew. That's so good. Like it's like caffeine, like a little life, like just like it's great.
Yes.
Okay, item, like any item that could be in your drop bag or that they have at the aid station, anything like that.
For like gear wise or eating?
Gear, yeah, not food.
Headlamp.
Headlamp? Oh, okay. My headlamp works for 3 hours. That's all I need.
Mine works throughout the night, and I love my headlamp.
Yeah, I remember when I bought it, and Amelia Kaufman, one of our teammates, was like, why would you get a headlamp that only works for 3 hours? I'm like, because I'm not running in the dark for longer than 3 hours, ever. And she's like, what about when you do 100? And I'm like, I better be fucking done before it's dark.
Well, you're fast enough, so I'm sure you'll get it done before the dark.
Or I'll just do it on a track. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Mine actually was petroleum jelly. Because not only is it good lube for like every place that you forget about, especially when it's raining, you can also use it on your lips, which you can't with Squirrel's Nut Butter and Body Glide.
Nice.
So, because like, you know, when it's hot out, you forget, and then you get lip chapped lips. That's the worst. Little things make a difference.
Yes.
All right, and last question. Celebrity that you want at your aid station to like bring you in and give you some cheer.
Any of my best friends.
Celebrity.
They're celebrities to me.
Celebrity aid station. Like, friends don't count, because I was like, probably Ian, but that doesn't count because, like, you know, anyone.
I guess Killian, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's a good answer actually. Mine was Ellie Greenwood. I mean, she was named after me, so
there's so many amazing celebrities like runners I would like, but as for like awesome guy, Killian would definitely bring me in. Like I would be sprinting in no matter how much pain I am to see.
Yeah, my heart might like drop out of my chest. Like I probably would just not be able to continue. It's just like, no, just hold me. Did you see his most recent rest day like video?
No, I haven't.
He was like, of course, Killian, you know where he lives, so he has been like training on the road or something, but he was like getting tired or fatigued or something, like overuse. So he like just decided to like summit some ridge line. So of course, like he's like on this path, and there's just like drop offs, and I'm just like,
oh yes, I saw that.
Yeah, freak of nature.
I didn't know that was recovery though.
Well, I mean, when I read the caption, it was like taking a break and resting, or like recovery from my road training. And I'm just like, my recovery from road training is like lying on my bed, which I did today. So
his recovery runs are most people's race day, if they can keep that.
I mean, he is just a specimen that is, you know, just everything about like the way he was raised, like unintentionally too, just like prepared him for what he's doing. It's really amazing.
Yes.
But yeah, that's a good one. But the cool thing I was thinking about with like especially ultra runner elite celebrities is like you could actually see them at your aid station. Like it's possible. It's not like LeBron James ain't coming to my local pickup. Like, you know what I mean? But like, I mean, you could meet Courtney or Camille or Jim at one of your races.
Courtney was my second pick, actually. Well, they're both not my number one pick, but it just Killian came to my mind because, like you said, I saw that video just recently of him on the cliff. So, but Courtney would have been the other person as well.
True. She'd just be good also if you were like having a shitty race. She'd be like, yeah, man, here's some jelly beans.
Yeah, and she's like a great person to drink an IPA with at the finish line. She'll cheer you on. You know, you're excited, and you just crack a beer and just have a good time. She's just chill.
Great. We have some really special people in our sport.
Yes.
Well, Demang, with your answer about soup, you won the game we just played. Congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes. Cheers to you. So how's your recovery been?
Recovery been pretty well. My foot just started feeling much better today. The skin was just like, needed to like recover from it. But as for body, it recovered. I didn't run hard, so it recovered pretty well, even with all the climbing and stuff and the downhills. I felt pretty good by Monday, I would say. But
so I mean, you're not really able to train on terrain like that. So I feel like, how do you maintain like the pounding going down? Like, cause that is like sort of jarring. Like that is what makes me sore after races when I've not been like doing it so much. So how, like, I guess, how do you mitigate that?
Well, this time I told myself to be light as possible when I'm going up or down. And then I also decided to not jog as much, like power hike and walk really fast. And it's been working for me. I think my little secret skill is like walking fast. And I think
like your legs are so long, you can like get up the mountain in like 2 strides.
Well, your legs are even longer than mine.
I know. I know.
um,
Well, we had like the leg discussion today between a couple like my housemate Paige and my workout buddy Harry. I was like, I think my legs go up to here. I'm just legs and then head.
yeah, my legs are long, but they're not strong as many people in the mountains. But they're still helpful when it comes to scrambling through
Yeah,
stuff.
glide over them,
Yeah, so when I'm going down and up hills, I'm pretty much power hiking a lot. I try not to jog or run as much, or like if I can do a little speed walking down and and I think it's been helping. So I did a lot of that this weekend. Also because the pace was slower, you can't really do that when you're going fast. But I think
Yeah.
it helped me save energy and help with the pounding a lot.
It's also when it was slippery, it's just like going down. You just got to be careful.
Yeah, I taped up my ankle. I have so many memories and scars from rolling my ankle, so I taped up my ankle this time. But even that, with all the rain and stuff, my legs were just done.
Mhm. So, what was the best part?
Best part, I guess seeing um people at the aid station. So I had my friend Otto crew me, and Ryan had his wife Alex crew him. And then every time I got to see them, I would have felt miserable when I saw them. I got like excited, and I'm like, when's the next time I'm gonna see you? When's the next? So like then I know how much time I have to be out there. Like I enjoy the whole race, like the course and everything, and took everything in. But I think like the excitement part, it was always nice to see like friends because you're in the woods and you're having a good time and like seeing all these animals and nature and sun and rain. But like it's always for me seeing my friends always makes me excited and fun.
Yeah, that's so cute. You're like, when's the next time I'm going to see you? It's like you're in a relationship and you're like, oh, when do I get to see you again? Oh,
It's true.
that's so fun. So, you recover and you have what's next? What are you excited to do now?
Nothing. So I was hoping to knock out the 100, but since that didn't happen, I have to figure out to do 100 this year. So even if it's something with a friend or something like we might come up with this group or might sign up for a race if things go back to normal down the line or a little bit normal and races start to happen, maybe try to do 100. That's the goal. Until then, just stay healthy.
Hmm.
Uh, and now that I'm busy back to work and stuff, it's just like, all right, I'm enjoying it, taking it easy. I told myself after July 4th weekend, I'll start running again. Until now, I'm just taking a break.
Good for you. Good. It's good to hear that because you did put in a really impressive effort, and you know you made the right decision, and you still ran basically. Okay, Manitous is like a 100-mile race, so you still ran a 100-mile race, and yeah, I'm really glad to hear you sound very content, and that's like we talked about earlier or in our last interview. It's sometimes hard to be content when we have these we're blessed with amazing friends,
Yeah.
and so sometimes it's hard to take our accomplishment when we have friends that are doing the same things that we are. But you did something really awesome, Devang, and I'm really glad that you shared that with me.
Thank you.
Thank you again for doing this two-part interview, and your adventures sound really awesome, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
Yep. Hopefully you join me on the trails.
I have a whole top floor of a house, so if you ever are like, I'm going to run 100 miles the Cayuga Trails course twice, or I guess it would be 4 times. You know what? I could crew you for that.
All right. Sounds
Or at
good.
least I'll meet you with some soup and watermelon.
Well, hopefully, I don't know if Cayuga is still going to happen or not, but
I don't know either.
uh, that happens. I'll be out there.
Well, then hopefully I'll see you shortly.
Sounds good.
All right. Have a good night, Devang. Thank you.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.